In this video, I am tackling the music production process. Woo! Whoa. Before you dip out, this video is for everybody that loves music. If you want to make music and turn it into a career, awesome, this video is for you. If you love music and you want to know how your favorite artist goes about making music, this video is also for you. If you're just curious and you want to watch my pretty ugly face, this video is definitely for you. Without any further ado, let's jump into the video, which is demystifying the music production process. Woo! Alright, before we start the video, thank you everybody for watching the last one. It's been doing alright for just getting released. It already has more than the previous one, so that's awesome. If you stay till the very end of this video, I will go over the 2 phases of making music that most people miss. So, let's jump into the video. So to create a track, there are tons of phases, but let's break it down into 5 different phases today. It's not unlike writing a paper in a lot of ways. You'll recognize some of these things, but you didn't know how they worked and you didn't understand that was part of the process. All right, so phase 1, the idea. This is the idea that you have for your song, track, or project. This is often, in my opinion, what you get the idea in your head. You have a lyric in your head and you write it down. What I think is super important for this phase is you figure out some way to capture that idea, make it really, maybe it's not good. What I have done in the past is I will take my phone, record my mouth making goofy noises. Yeah, so here's one of them. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. But you know, that's where an idea starts. Sometimes this will be when I have an idea for a remix and I just record the idea or write down the song that I want to remix, or maybe you have some lyrics that you're like, this is what I want to talk about in a song. You write that down. The goal of this phase is to write down that idea. Phase 2, the creative/capture phase. This is what most people think of when they think of music production. So this is capturing the instruments, capturing the vocals, capturing the effects, anything that you're going to use in your final production. There's 2 different types of thingies that you use to generate or create audio. So there's MIDI. You can think of it like a player piano where you just draw out the notes that you want, and then you have some synthesizer that is dedicated to it, synthesizer. This will play back those notes for you. Then you also have actual recording. So you just record audio. And those are basically the 2 different types of tracks that you'll have in a production. So let's just break down the creative/capture process. You have an idea for, like, say a hip hop track, and you're like, buddy, let's do this hip hop track. And he's like, yo, dude, I totally do that with you. And so you find this sick beat, okay, from producer A, who you work on a song with, and he'll give you that. So that's his creative phase. He created this beat for you, and sometimes they're finalized, sometimes they're not. But what you do is you, as artist 1, will then throw your vocals on it, and then you'll send it to artist number 2 dude, and he will throw his vocals on it, and they're gonna sound better than yours. What this is you are taking your ideas and putting it into a concept. This doesn't have to be finished, this doesn't have to be completed, but the idea for this phase is to get the project to be, the idea needs to be there, okay? The goal also in this phase is to get your ideas out quickly. So if you're creating instrumentation or things like that, the idea is to capture all of those ideas quickly. I would recommend not spending too much time experimenting in this phase. You should do that on your own time when you're not working on like an actual project. You can, but it might slow you down and you won't get to all the ideas for your project. I also recommend focusing on individual sections and not focusing on the whole big picture. So focus on like your verse, make the verse really strong, or make artist 1's section really strong, and then later work on section 2. But you don't have to spend a lot of time blending the 2 together, because that's requires a lot less inspiration and just more fine-tuning. So phase number 3, completion phase. So this involves structure, finishing your sections, keeping the track consistent, getting rid of bad ideas, and finishing the track. The most common problem that most people have, in my opinion, is they don't finish. And I have this problem too. It's just like, do it. Why aren't you? It is better to complete than make something that's perfect, in my opinion. Usually what I do for this phase is I will create drafts of the concept. So I will render out something, and then I will go sit in my car, and then I will go listen to it over and over and over and make notes about it. Sometimes I'll write them down, sometimes I'll just keep them in my head, and then I will go back to the studio or my computer, make those changes, and then bada boom, bada bing, we got it. Not everything that you created in the creative phase should end up in this final completed phase. So cut things that aren't relevant. So before we get too much farther into this video, I want to thank again everybody that's been watching this so far. If you could smash the like button, leave a comment about what you want to see. I've already gotten some comments in my last videos and have given me some ideas for what I'm going to do in the future videos, reviewing software, reviewing music stuff, talking about life, and yeah, do it. Mako the Producer. You can find me on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, your favorite streaming platform, YouTube, obviously, Instagram, and some other places. So let's get back to the last two phases like I promised at the beginning of the video. Phase number 4 is the mixing stage. So this one is the one that people talk about all the time. The goal in this phase is to make sure that the levels of all your tracks are right. So in the last phase, the completion phase, we are actually getting rid of all the MIDI tracks and we are rendering them out into audio tracks. And then we're also taking our audio tracks with all our effects and things like that, and we're also rendering it out. So the goal as we go into the mixing phase is to have a bunch of audio tracks that you can then mix, and the goal of this is to make sure all your levels are right. Technically speaking, you want this to end around -6 dB because this prepares you for the final phase. This is the last chance for you to remove some of the sounds that you don't need anymore. Harlow, what are you doing? I've got my dog here. Say hi. Say hi to the camera. It's up. It's up there. It's up. It's up. Look there. There. The goal in this phase 2 is to make all of your sounds sound crisp, finish them off, make them sound top notch. You will do some of this along the way, but the mixing phase is your last chance to do it. Sometimes it's easier, especially with those of you with less rendering power on your computer. This phase, in my opinion, is the most important phase because if you have a bad mix, then you have a bad track. Doesn't matter what the project is. It can be classical music, it can be hip hop, it can be pop music, it can be live guitars, it can be an orchestra. If you have a bad mix, it's gonna sound bad. So fix it. The end goal of this is to take all of your tracks and turn it into one track that is ready for the final phase. The final phase is the mastering phase. So this phase is where you bring your track to industry standard loudness, volume, width, and all that stuff. It's basically making sure that your track sounds like other tracks when you play it on Spotify, play it in the car, play it on big speakers, things like that. This one is a little bit more technical for some people, but the goal is to bring your track from here to all the way to the top. I typically shoot for -0.1 dB. If you don't know what that is, I will go over that in a different video, probably. This is awesome. Also often thought of as your last chance to finalize the mix, so you can rebalance some of the things as you go. And often what you're doing is you use a reference track to compare back and forth whether your final master sounds good enough to match another professional's mastering phase. There are also services that do this for you and websites as well, or you can hire independent people or professionals and they can do the same thing as well. So to close this video out, it is important to remember that it is extremely hard to be good at all of these phases. A lot of artists are not, but typically specialize in 1 to 2 of these. I would say that I am much better at the creative phase and the mixing phase. I spend more time in these areas than I do anything else, but oftentimes an artist does not do all of them. You work with other people that do them for you as well. But it is important to understand all of these concepts. And again, don't be alarmed. It's not as crazy as you would think. It sounds like a lot, but honestly, once you get into it, it makes a lot of sense logically. Alrighty, so that's all I got for this video. My audio recorded this time, so we are gonna end it right here. Thanks so much for watching the Mako the Producer channel and watching this video. I hope you learned something. If you guys like videos like this, be sure to let me know. All right, bye guys. Thanks for watching this video.